Hello. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Mortgage Madness. I'm Mike Hobbs, your host. Got Chris Lahti here with Home at Last Inspections with us today. You saw any of my precursors and some of the videos I put out. I was wearing an NFL helmet. The Giants, the only undefeated team, right, Chris? That's right.
The Eagles.
Oh, the Eagles.
Giants
Sorry.
got one
Giants
loss,
have one
yeah.
loss, but they're doing really well. What are they?
Doing
6-1 now.
6-1.
6-1. Yeah. And so I was wearing that helmet and talking about a hard-hitting show today. So thanks for tuning in. If you're listening to us here too, you may be on Spotify. It'll publish later today, so you're listening to it as a delayed on Spotify. And so I'll try to remember, you help me, to describe things that we're doing so that our listeners, and they don't have that video capability of seeing us, they'll know what we're talking about. So today is our title today is home inspections. We'll put it up there. A home inspection is your vitamin C. Take it. You need to take your vitamin C. We're talking with Chris about all those different things. Also, I want to talk to you about Loan Depot. So I'm Mike Hobbs. I'm a home loan officer with Loan Depot. One of the things I've been talking about on the shows here coming up is trying to provide some distinctive competency in what I do for you as a listener, a home buyer, even a seller. We've had segments, and even a real estate agent. I love supporting our agents, and we're always talking about doing creative marketing things. So if you're an agent that's looking about dialing it up in this marketplace, the way it's changed, and we're all worried about it a little bit, or a lot of us are. If you're interested in dialing that up in your marketing, please see me, contact me, reach out to me. My stats are on the bottom of the screen. You can reach out to me. You can find me at itsmortgagemadness.com on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn, Mortgage Madness, Mike Hobbs, Loan Depot, and we can talk about the buyer benefits bundle. The buyer benefits bundle is something that right there is something that takes three elements of the buying process, and you can combine these things, and you can get them a la carte too. But all I did was I said, let's bundle it and call it something. So it's buyer benefits bundle that actually makes buying affordable for you. You can get your rate significantly lower. I've got some actuaries and some data that I can show you next time possibly that shows how much of a difference it makes on, say, like a $600,000 home, and consequently in a $400,000 home. Makes a huge difference when combining it. But something where the seller participates, helps you out. You can do three things. Those are lower interest rate, closing costs wiped out, and you can also have the seller participate in adding to your down payment, which makes buying affordable. It also makes selling efficient. So for those sellers that are interested in finding out how you can implement the buyer benefits bundle into your selling modality, have your agent reach out to me. You can reach out to me directly too, and we'll talk about how you do that from a marketing standpoint, and then turning that into a reality to make selling your home more efficient. So again, Mike Hobbs, Home Loan Depot. I'm a home loan officer. I've been doing this for about 38 years. So thanks for tuning in, and let's dive into it. Let's dive into a home inspection is your vitamin C. Take it. If you don't take it, you're going to get sick, right? Vitamin C keeps you healthy from everything, including COVID, right, Chris?
Yeah.
If more people have been taking vitamin C, they wouldn't have got COVID. I'm kidding. That's not true. But at the end of the day, I think it represents that we've all thought of vitamin C as being that thing that keeps us healthy. And I place that akin to a home inspection when you're buying a home is something that'll keep you healthy in the buying process. We're going to also talk about a seller and how you can help a seller also make buying a seller's home less terrifying. And when buying a home is less terrifying, it loosens the purse strings of a buyer because you buy with confidence, right? Yep. If you know what you're buying, you know what's going on, you'll buy. So I want to talk about this. I talked a little bit about this last week. I'm holding this article in my hands from BuzzFeed.news. And they were talking about housing market prices are wild, and some people regret buying now. And so it's predicated upon the fact that you bought at the top end of the market. We've lost some equity. And so now some people are saying, well, we're not going to make our payments, or we've made a bad decision, or what have you. And I've owned 15 homes over my career, and I've had good and high and lows. And I think we buy a home, our primary residence, to live in, raise our family, a sense of community, belonging, a pride, the things that make us whole, make us feel it's part of that American dream that we hear about. So whether it goes up or down during a 10-year period of time, 5-year period of time, we don't really care. We're not keeping track of it. So the article's a fear-based article. I don't really agree with this, but it's in the BuzzFeed.news. And so It talks about this one person in it who is white collar, educated individual. She does medical claim processing, and so she bought this home above asking price. And we were talking about hasty closings and poor or even waived inspections are leading to people regretting the purchases they made in that frenzy that we've had over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So when we come down to, we're going to talk about today, I want to introduce Chris and have him tell you a little about his background. And we're going to talk about the things you've seen in the industry, what's gone on, some things to watch out for, and things that the seller again and the buyer can do to protect themselves. And again, we both know agents that we work with, real estate agents, and they advocate, all that I know, advocate getting a home inspection.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yep. I would agree with that.
So tell us a little bit about you. Tell us about Home at Last Inspections.
I'm Chris with Home at Last. So I started my home inspection business kind of pre-COVID. So I've got to see the kind of craziness here, a little normal and then a little craziness, and now we're kind of getting back to something we haven't seen since when? Early 2000s when rates were.
Well, it feels like, a lot of people in the industry, they talk about it feels like 2008.
Yeah, right. So I've got to see kind of a lot of waves here in my first few years of doing inspections. So
yeah. What do you like most about your job?
I would say I like being my own boss.
Okay.
That's pretty good. I like to have more family time, more free time. That's probably my favorite thing.
Yeah.
But I also like to help people.
Yeah.
I like to help people realize that American dream, like you talked about. I'm a homeowner. I have that dream. I love it. So I want to help people get that.
I think your job's got to be pretty cool. I mean, I think we're drawn to mysteries and things that we don't know that's coming. It's the surprise. It's going to a movie and not sure how it's going to turn out. You're waiting for that, protagonist to take us through this journey. And so every time you do a home inspection, you're showing up to a new home, and you know that you're going to probably find some interesting things, some surprises and stuff. So it's got to make it kind of cool for you when you know you're going to a house. It's it would be for me kind of exciting. What am I going to find this time? What's coming around the corner?
Right. Oh, absolutely. No, you come across some pretty crazy stuff. So I mean, and like you said, it's almost like a buildup every time you're getting ready to go do your inspection. You kind of almost pregame, if you will. You're kind of like, okay, well, I know it's this year house. I know to look for this. So you kind of give yourself an idea of what to expect, but 9 times out of 10, you get thrown for a loop. Sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
You think you're going into a place that's like, oh, it's a newer place. Probably not going to be a ton of stuff, but we're still going to find some things.
Well, a house is a living, breathing thing.
Yes.
It's wood, it's changing, it's water, it's electricity. There's all sorts of stresses and things placed on it over time, and usage from people that own it. It's going to have wear and tear. Things are going to happen.
Yep.
So why would somebody? I guess let me ask it this way: why would somebody want a home inspection? What's the main reason for getting a home inspection? And second question is, why wouldn't somebody want? Why would they elect not to have one? In your opinion?
Yeah. So I mean, that's obviously 2 great questions. I try to put myself into people's shoes, and I go, hey, okay, let's think rationally about this, right? I'm about to make one of the largest investments in my entire life, right?
That's right,
in a place to raise my family. Wouldn't you want to know everything you can know about that place you're going to be living in for the next 10, 15 years, as opposed to not knowing, and it's tough because we get as inspectors, we get kind of a limited time to go in there. We usually get 3-4 hours, maybe 5 hours at the max to go in there and be like, hey, this, and this, right?
And describe what happens in that 4 or 5 hours. I mean, you're poking into everything.
Yes. Yep.
Give us some general ideas of some of the things you do that one of our listeners or watchers wouldn't know that a home inspector does.
So I think a big one that I get a lot that most people don't know is that, we're obviously going to get into your crawl space. We're going to get into your attics. We're going to get into your electrical panel, which is a huge one, and a lot of people, they don't understand that. They're like, oh, you're going to take off the dead front to my electrical panel and look at, we want to get in there it's a visual inspection, but it's a non-invasive inspection, right? But we want to be able to see as many things as we can and uncover what's going on without obviously knocking holes in the wall,
Right.
you know.
And I want to answer the second question, but first, Pacific General.
Federal Pacific.
Federal Pacific. Thank you.
Yep.
So if you see
Federal
that as
Pacific. Yep.
so Federal Pacific, if you see that as your electrical panel, what's up with that?
They're notorious for house fires. So
they just combust, right?
Yeah, they're like, you know, I think they were, I want to say 70s, 80s, kind of ran into the 80s. You don't really see them a lot anymore. Zinsco is another one. Zinsco panels, also the same type of thing.
And that's something you find. So one of the benefits of a home inspector is they're going to find those things that could frankly be health related. You die in a fire. And if you didn't know that about the panel, it's working. It's been working for 20 years.
Sure. Yeah.
No big deal. But they are known to, spontaneously combust and start house fires.
It's scary. I mean, anytime you think about something like that, you obviously don't want to be sleeping in the middle of the night and then your electrical panel go up, you know.
So really, in my industry, they have to do background checks on us. And so they do a very thorough background check for me to be able to do my job in home lending. So really, I just thought of some cool marketing stuff to do together. My marketing mind starts spinning. But you're really the background check for the home,
right? No, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, absolutely. Just doing that one kind of last. We want to give it that once over. You know, we want to go through everything. We want to go through your crawl space. We want to go through your electrical panel. We want to check out any plumbing fixtures that we can get to. You know, see what kind of piping you have.
Right.
I mean, they're so extensive. I have a sample report here.
Hold that up real quick so people can see how the people are watching. He's holding up a sample of the work.
Yeah.
And thumb through that. Just flip through it real quick. It's comprehensive, isn't it?
There's 33 pages in this report. And they're all digital picture. You know, I can print it off for you too. This is obviously a printed off version. It has a list of all your defects here. You scroll through here and there's.
But I wanted you to show it because it's comprehensive. It's not like one or two or three pieces. It's extremely comprehensive about every aspect of your home, crawl spaces, things like that he said. Back to the other question, which was why would somebody opt out of a home inspection? Based on just the general stuff and the little bit of conversation we've had right now about the benefits of one, why would somebody not want to do a home inspection?
I think the biggest thing for me recently that I have noticed, a lot of times it's out-of-state buyers. So kind of depending on who they're using for their agent or whatever, that can kind of factor into it. Maybe they don't know somebody that's available. Maybe they're on a time crunch. Maybe they're like, we got 4 days, 5 days to get it in. I can't get a hold of an inspector. I can't do this. So then they just say, oh, well, we don't need one. I know basically, general construction practices and how a house is built, right? And we'll be okay. I'll check it out when I get there or whatever, right? That's a lot of the stuff that I've been coming across.
But it's dangerous because you're opening yourself up to potential problems. But again, during the height of the craziness over the last couple of years we had, certainly 20 and 21, and you had such a demand on homes. A third grader could sell a home. No disrespect to real estate agents. I've been one. I've owned a couple of agencies, but the reality is, you be a third grader, stick a for sale sign in the yard, and that thing would sell in an hour.
Correct.
And so, multiple offers and what have you. And so one of the ways you
cash
make
offers.
cash.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's one of the ways you make an offer more attractive is you say, we're waiving the inspection.
Right.
Because an inspection opens up, and we're going to segue into the next thing we want to talk about, which is really cool. But a home inspection opens up the opportunity for renegotiations. Mm-hmm. So think about it as a seller, you sell it, you get a buyer, they come in, they love it, they fall in love, emotionally attached, boom, they go, and you got it in escrow, and it's great. But they have their inspection contingency period for 7-10 days, whatever it may be. And so you have to wait for that period for them to have a home inspector come out, look at it. And then if they find something wrong that's, health and safety related, something that's demonstrative, big, then the buyer's agent comes back to the seller's agent and wants to negotiate price down for that or money to repair it. So you go back into this love, and everybody's excited, goes into this pragmatic event now. It's no longer emotional and, hey,
Right.
I can't wait to get in the house with kids.
Yep.
It comes to a pragmatic one is, hey, we're looking at the nuts and bolts of this thing.
Yes.
And now we're renegotiating. And then that can cause people to back out. So that leads me to, and we've talked about this. In fact, you've set up a program with me through a program I'm teaching agents and helping agents, mentoring agents that want to be distinctly confident, find a different way and a different voice in this marketplace to stand out, and also provide real benefits to their clients, their sellers, and their buyers. Is we put together a program, you and I, that you can offer the pre-inspections
Yes.
for certain agents and certain sellers, a pre-inspection. And what's a pre-inspection do in your mind? I'll tell you what I think, but what does that do?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's all about bringing everybody together, right? Like a home transaction can be a lot of the times, from what I have noticed, very distant. Oh, you talk to my agent, I talk to your agent. We don't have to communicate any of this stuff. So when you bring it all together for a pre-listing inspection, it kind of brings everybody closer.
Right.
The seller's going, hey, I've done a pre-listing inspection. We got this, and this, right? This is what's going on. I'll fix this. This is obviously a big concern, whatever it may be. Maybe it's an electrical issue or something like that. And then there's these other couple things on here that are all kind of minor things, but they need to be addressed. Can you take care of that? And it just helps with negotiations and helps kind of bringing everybody together to get family A a new home and get family B.
Yeah.
They want to go somewhere else. Maybe they want to move to Florida or wherever, so
Right.
it helps everybody all around.
Yeah. It's kind of like, you talked about the analogy, you're selling a car and it's got a little tear in the, tuck and rolls, leather seats in the back. It's an old classic car. And you don't disclose that, or you don't know about it. And then somebody finds out about it later in their own discovery. The fact you didn't tell them about it, it compromises the trust factor. The trust factor, meaning the buyer doesn't trust the seller, that they weren't up front with the things they should have known and been able to make a decision on. So I think the pre-home inspection, pre-listing home inspection allows the seller to address any problems that are there that would be, I've always said health and safety, but there could be other things up front, so they can either take care of them before it goes live, meaning on the MLS, goes live for selling, or they can address it when a would-be buyer comes in. So the Pacific Federal Panel, we did this in a home that I was selling years ago. We had a pre-inspection. They pointed out, told us about it, and I immediately said, we're replacing it. It was like $2,500 back in the day to do.
Yeah.
And so when the people came through the open house, and we provided them, because we had a pre-inspection at the open house, we provided a copy of the home inspection. They couldn't take it. It stayed on the premise. Right. But they could look through it, and every one of them went, oh, gosh, what about this Pacific Federal Panel? And we could respond, hey, we're replacing it with an offer. We'll replace it when we're in escrow. We'll replace this before closing. So what did that do? That made the buyer feel more confident that there was nothing being hidden by the seller, because they were open and upfront about disclosing all that was going on through the home inspection. Number two, the fact they were going to fix things meant that they're willing to, they want to, it's important to them to make the home safe for the family coming into it. So the trust runs high. Number two, if you know everything about something, you're not looking for the other shoe to fall. You're not worried about what you don't know. Yes. If you're not worried about what you don't know, because you know everything, you will loosen the purse strings. You'll buy with confidence. And that we used to talk about that. One of my marketing campaigns was make buying less terrifying. So I think you, in your vitamin C efforts, take that vitamin C, get it. If you're buying a home, get that home inspection, because that's a vitamin C pill for you. But I think you make buying less terrifying. So I don't think there's any reason why a seller, an agent representing a seller in a listing, prior to going live, prior to having people show up at the home, that you don't get a pre-inspection, have it there at the home so people can peruse through it and look through it when they're there, because it's going to build confidence.
Absolutely. I mean, it
eliminates the negotiation they talk, that secondary negotiation stage.
Right.
It eliminates that secondary negotiation stage, because if they've seen it before they write the offer, they already know what's going to go on. And the buyer could actually write into their offer, hey, I want this fixed, want this fixed, want this fixed, couldn't they?
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're opening it up to helping everybody involved, right? It's not just a one side and a one side. Everybody's involved. You're just making it easier, friendlier, truthful. I mean, that's a big big thing in this day and age. Trust, truth,
That's absolutely right. In the article that I was talking about, alluding to earlier, from BuzzFeed News, is they're talking about people regretting the purchase because they didn't get home inspections. They're talking about regretting it for other reasons that I don't agree with. But I agree. If you didn't get a home inspection and you missed some major elements in that home that were health and safety, that's on you, though. So don't do that. It's not worth it, right, Chris? Right. So here's the deal. We're gonna wrap up here in a second, and so I want to thank Chris Lahti from at home. Home, what is it?
Home at Last.
Home at Last. Wow, I had a little fade there.
We want you home at last.
Home at Last Inspections. Chris Lahti. You can reach him there. There's his information on the screen. And for those listening, you can reach him at 208-755-9256 or at chris@homeatlastinspections.com, Chris Lahti. And so we're going to wrap up. I think you should absolutely reach out to him if you're thinking about selling your home. If you're buying a home and you need a good home inspector, I know agents will refer. We'll say hi to Darcy right now. I know I'm talking to Darcy here in a little bit. Hi, Darcy. You know who you are. You're going to be listening to this a little bit later. You couldn't listen to us live, but Darcy works with you, Chris, doesn't she?
Yeah, we've worked together a couple times.
Yeah, and we've worked together as well. So she's a real estate agent out of Washington and Idaho that uses Chris for those. And I think it's just a great thing that you have the ability to understand and know what's going on before you buy. You have the ability to know what's going on with your home before you sell. Mm-hmm. And I think that brings a buyer and seller together in a position where it's a win-win situation. So, hey, tune into us. We're here every Friday or Wednesday or any other day we feel like going on. I don't know what, but we're always around. You can find us at itsmortgagemadness.com, and you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. You can locate me on LinkedIn. I'm Mike Hobbs. I'm a home loan officer with a Loan Depot, and love bringing the shows to you. And again, Mortgage Madness was kind of encapsulates everything in real estate. That's why we have Chris on today with Home Inspector, because it's not just about the mortgage rates and all those kind of things, although those are important. We'll talk about those, but it's also about anything related to real estate that helps a consumer, seller or buyer move forward in the process. So thank you very much for listening today. Thank you for being a guest today, Chris.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And we'll see you next week here at Mortgage Madness with Mike Hobbs.